So, chat, question of the day. Will it fly? If you haven't been keeping up with the news, this afternoon, U.S. time, NASA landed another probe on Mars. This one has a drone, a helicopter drone on it. Is a helicopter drone gonna fly on Mars? That's the real question. And if it's not gonna fly on Mars, then the next question is, was it worthwhile to send one anyway just because we could? Interesting. Consider that. Ponder that during tonight's session. We probably won't answer that question, but maybe.
What's going on?
Good evening, Ken. How are you doing?
Just about ready for this winter storm and everything to get out of here.
Yeah.
Temperature to warm up.
So there's a drone on Mars. There's a helicopter drone on Mars. Question is, how immeasurably is your existence changed by knowing that there's a helicopter drone on Mars?
0.
I swear to God, this proves that everybody who works for a government-funded agency is just a big kid at heart, and all they want to do is play with the toys.
Oh, yeah? Well, they don't know if that drone on Mars is going to fly yet, right?
That's what I understand. Literally, it just touched down while I was in a meeting this afternoon. It was a boring meeting. So I had the NASA channel up on my other computer and the sound down, and I was watching it. And then when my meeting was over, I turned the sound up, and they were interviewing one of the mission managers who is in charge of this drone that they've put on the thing. And they were talking about how they tested it. Now, they tested it in an environment that supposedly by using a vacuum, they could get the atmosphere down to the density of Mars, but they're doing that on Earth. So I guess if it'll fly with the same density of air as on Mars and an Earth gravity, that probably means it'll fly on Mars, but then will it fly too well on Mars because the gravity is so much less there? And obviously the atmosphere is so much less dense there as well.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, being a pilot, I'm sure they tested out the aerodynamics of it.
Yeah, they I don't know how much you heard of what I was saying, but they were talking to this mission manager, and they had this big vacuum chamber where they could lower the atmospheric density in that to be what's on Mars. But what I'm wondering is that's still going to have Earth gravity, right? So you would think because Earth gravity
compensate for it.
I wonder how they would do that by changing the pitch of the rotors, maybe.
They could, or the power of lift.
Yeah. That's possible. But yeah, they proved to themselves that they could make it fly in that environment.
I'm just impressed they got that rover to land like they did, and all those steps. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's like I was watching part of the replay because I was in a meeting when that happened, and it was kind of weird the way they did
I'll take it. Audra, where is it?
All right. I am going to go ahead and kill the music because we know that Paul is sadly not going to be able to join us tonight because over in the UK, they are having winter weather like much of the US is, and they are having a power outage in his village. So he is unable to join us, so we hope he is staying warm and safe in that weather. As he says, he lives out in the middle of nowhere. As for the rest of us, I am DM Galabond. It is a Thursday night. We are here for session 33 of the Sword Coast Chronicles, and I'm deciding to call tonight the Factions of Gracklstugh, although I almost called it There's a Drone on Mars. Because NASA landed a rover today that includes a little 4-pound helicopter drone. They don't even know if the stupid thing is going to fly in the Martian atmosphere. So that ought to be fun. Proof, once again, as I was saying to Ken a few minutes ago, no offense meant to anybody in the channel or on the stream, but just proof that everybody who goes to work for a government-funded agency is nothing but a big kid at heart that just wants to play with the toys. You're gonna send a drone to Mars. You're just a kid that wants to play with the toys. That's all. All right, and last time in this game, the party was at the home of Stonespeaker Hagram. And Stonespeaker Hagram is a stone giant. And he was talking about how he needed to wash his dog after he washed up after breakfast, washed up his breakfast plates. And while he was speaking, his, in air quotes, dog that actually looks more like a giant bear comes trundling in, and the bear is carrying something in its mouth, and it goes over and it does this kind of and nuzzles up to the stone speaker, and the stone speaker says, "Oh, Tiny, oh, there you are. Are you ready for your BATH today?" And Tiny's like, "Oh," and it just holds its mouth up with the item that it's carrying. And the stone speaker says, "Oh, yes, yes, you are right. I almost forgot. Thank you." And he picks this item out of the bear's mouth, and he turns back towards the party. And what he is holding in his hand is he is holding a polished crystal that is the length of a human forearm. And he stretches that out towards the character and offers it to you. He says, "Oh, this is a gift, a token of my gratitude for the information you were able to give me on the visions that I was having. I hope that this will be helpful to you in the future. It's called the Stonespeaker Crystal." And he holds it out for one of you guys to take.
Mulek, I guess, will. Do I know what a Stonespeaker Crystal is?
You do not.
I guess I'll just reach out and grab it.
Okay. All
Sorry
right.
about that, guys. Sorry, I had to step away from the computer for a minute. My bad.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. Welcome, Michael. This crystal, you take it, and Mulek, as an artificer, he kind of has a sixth sense for magic items. And when he touches this crystal, feels like it's magical somehow.
I'll have to take a closer look at this later. Can you tell me, Stonespeaker, what is so special about this crystal?
Oh, yes. Yes, this Stonespeaker Crystal, this was created by the stone giant librarians of Graven Hollow. Graven Hollow is perhaps the greatest repository of knowledge of my kind, and it is here in the Underdark, although it is much nearer to a city that is probably familiar to your dwarven companion, because the great Brunor Battlehammer was its king for many, many years there. I speak, of course, of the great city of,
Mithril Hall?
the other one that he was
In Icedale? I don't know what the other one is.
Gauntlgrim.
Gauntlgrim.
Yes, the dwarven citadel of Gauntlgrim is not too far away from Graven Hollow. If you ever get to Gauntlgrim, you should ask them about visiting Graven Hollow. And if you take this with you, the Keepers of Lore at Graven Hollow, I think they might even let you into some of the rare book collections.
Ooh. I like books.
That doesn't surprise me.
I thought that among you there might be one or two who appreciates the lore accumulated from the centuries by many cultures.
Yeah, believe it or not, I like a good book myself. As long as it's tales of fantastic deeds and heroic songs sung.
Oh, well, the librarians of Graven Hollow, I'm not sure they do much singing themselves, but they make meticulous records, so you could be sure, Mr. Bard. Are you the famous Falazur who was playing at the Shattered Spire last night? I heard about that.
I sure was. How'd you hear about it?
Oh, well, the news was all over the city. And some of the small folk who like to talk to the guards, they were telling them about it. Of course, we stone giants, we don't get a chance to go to the Shattered Spire. There's too much of a chance of accidentally stepping on somebody on the way. And the doors are usually not big enough for us to get in.
Well, do you ever have any bards that visit and play for you here?
We have a few traveling minstrels among the stone giants. The most recent one that we had was Tauntaun Two String. Because you see, Tauntaun Two String has a banjo, but over the years, 3 of the strings of his banjo have broken, and there are no artisans who make banjo strings sized for a stone giant's banjo anymore. And it was an auspicious performance because while he was playing here, another string broke. And so now he is Tauntaun One String.
That's tough.
Oh, but you would be surprised at the melodies he can play on a single string on a banjo.
Well, he must be skilled.
I think he has had a lot of practice with his instrument. Well, I won't keep you any longer, and please, don't let Tiny hear you say the word spelled out by B-A-T-H. He doesn't like that very much, but he's starting to get a little stinky.
And he holds his nose, and then he ruffles the fur behind the bear's ears and says,
"Aren't you, Tiny? You're just getting a little stinky, aren't you? Yeah, that's a good boy."
and the bear is
Yeah.
like,
Bowden is just looking at the bear in fear, like, yeah, that could maul me to death.
And he's like, "Come on, boy." And then he says, "Goodbye, visitors. Once again, remember,
You're welcome anytime if you need a place to speak in privacy with some of your allies. You're always welcome here.
We thank you for your graciousness, Stonespeaker Higrom.
Okay. And, to bring everything full circle, last week we had decided that Thaldor had just uncharacteristically drunk way too much. and was kind of having to be led around. And so now apparently seeing this humongous cave bear in the home of this stone giant, finally he's sobered up. So he may need a primer on or recap from one of the other players on what happened.
Yeah, I was a little too intoxicated. I think I tried to drink Krinrad under the table, knowing he's a dwarf. I know that was not going to happen.
Hey, welcome, Skyland.
So, Thaldor, what do you last remember?
Last I remember was the big performance, the king. We went to the palace, had a nightcap, and I think I drank too much and passed out or had a blackout between when we apparently went to bed and seeing this big bear that just looks like it could kill me and, real quick. So
out of character, were you able to review last week's?
Did somebody send it to me?
It's on Twitch.
Oh, I didn't watch last week's episode. No, it's been crazy. I was without water for 2 days.
No worries.
No.
Yeah. So it's been nuts here in Tennessee. We've had probably 6 to 7 inches of snow, 2-3 inches of ice. Yeah, it's been crazy.
Oh gosh.
Lots of water, just not the water just not the useful water.
Hey,
yeah.
Things in Texas have been pretty bad, let me tell you.
Yeah, my buddy was without power for 3 days. He just finally got back online last night and told me that he just finally got his power back.
Holy cow.
So, long story short, we heard some visions from Stonespeaker Higrom, and putting 2 and 2 together, we came to the belief that they're related to Tiamat. And so the Durgar king had asked us to come get information on these visions because neither the Stone Speaker nor the king understood these visions to be tied to the potential rise of Tiamat.
Oh, Lord. Something we're well aware of. We're well aware that they're trying to bring Tiamat back.
And the Stone Speaker had suggested that we work with the Red Dragon.
The Wyrmsmith.
But once we related these visions to Tiamat, the Stone Speaker came to the realization that might not be a good idea, such as how we were feeling. And the consort was pushing us to work with the Wyrmsmith as well. So we've, I think, come to the agreement that working with the Wyrmsmith is not such a great idea, but maybe the Keepers of the Flame will be the ones that we want to get information on, I guess, find out where this hidden dragon egg resides, as well as find out or talk to the king's friend for many, many years.
What was his name? The advisor?
Is it horror? Is it? Let me see.
Well, the king's consort was real quick to throw him under.
Yes, I'm
the
looking
bus
for my notes.
And said we shouldn't trust him, but we were like, I was like, in character, I was saying that sounds pretty suspicious.
Yes.
So, because like 75 years of being loyal, she's like, don't trust him. So
Carmier. I think his name is Carmier.
We definitely have to talk to him.
but we don't want to give ourselves away
Right.
to the consort. So we kind of have to do it
in secret somehow.
Yeah. So right now, I don't know if we got to figure out what we want to do. I don't think we have. The only orders we got were to come speak with the Stonespeaker, bring back what we've learned to the king. Now, if we bring back what we've learned, that's going to give. We have to be careful how we do that, because we're basically coming back saying that it may be related to the rise of Tiamat, and working with the Wyrmsmith might not be such a great idea, which will go anti to what the consort wants us to do.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to figure out who's the worst of the worst, pretty much.
Well, I think we know the consort's bad.
Right.
The Stonespeaker is, from what I can tell, on the level. He's good. The Wyrmsmith, although the Wyrmsmith hasn't done anything bad yet, there's the potential that it could go south. We don't know much about the Keepers of the Flame. We don't know about the missing dragon egg. We don't know about the Drow and what they're up to.
Drow themselves are just inherent. I won't say they're all evil in nature, but they're pretty ruthless.
Yeah, and we know there's a madness going around.
Yep.
And we've got these visions, the info from the visions that don't seem too appealing. Look out for two-faced caves and such.
Kind of cryptic.
Yeah. Something about a Leviathan with two heads rising from the lake.
Oh, God. So who do you want to talk to next, and how are we going to do it covertly?
Well, I think the king was going to, what was he going to reimburse us for bringing back any info?
Yes, he gave
it 100 gold pieces or something? Or?
Yeah, one of the things that with Faldor not being available last week, Krenraid jumped in and suggested to the king that it might seem suspicious that just out of the goodness of their hearts, a bunch of surface folk were running around Gracklstugh doing the king's business, and that maybe the king might like to offer payment sort of as cover for the party. And so the king said, "Oh, it's a wise idea," and offered 100 gold as a retainer, and then based on the information they bring back, would potentially offer more information or more payment. But basically that way, anybody who questions the party, A, sees that you all have tokens with the king's visage and your name engraved on the back of it, and B, that you're actually being paid by the king to do business. So you can be passed off as simple mercenaries.
He didn't work out a good deal, because it probably could have got us, more out of that retainer.
Probably.
Well, if you hadn't drunk so much, Faldor.
I couldn't help it, Mulek. It was just there, that elven wine, man, that elven wine.
Yep.
Don't let it happen again. That's why I don't drink.
Yeah, well, you got to relax every once in a while, buddy. Come on.
Well, there's plenty of ways to relax without drinking too much.
Let's see. I can't do spells like you, man. I'm sorry. Or Falliger. So I got to have my own way to cut loose. Stealing things only gets you so far.
And Mike, if you look in Discord, Galabon put on there the visions, all the visions that were related to us from the Stonespeaker.
10-4.
So, guys, what should we do? Do you guys want to? It's still pretty much morning, right? Galabon.
Oh yeah.
We ate breakfast and then we came down here, so it's still fairly early in the day in the dark, I guess.
Yes, it's who is
Faldor would know.
Faldor, you would know. It's like probably just around 10 in the morning on the surface.
I look over at him. I'm hungover. I look over. I go, yeah, Mulek, it's like, think on top side, it's like maybe around 10 a.m. So, yeah.
Well, how about we kind of take the long route back to the king's residence, see if we can't gather any more intel from this place while we've got these tokens, and I don't know, keep our eyes and ears open, see if maybe we see something.
That sounds fair to keep our ear to the ground. What do you think, Falliger? I just think this, though. The thing is, do we really want the consort knowing all the information that we're going to find out? Do you think they're on the level? You know, even though I was really intoxicated, can I roll an insight check to make sure if the consort was on the level?
Oh, they took care of that for you, and everybody
We knocked it out of the park.
That everybody believes that she cannot be trusted.
Yeah, Fellinger turns to you and says, "Hell no, you can't trust that woman."
She was fully controlling him and has got him to believe that she is the only one that can be trusted, which leads us to believe that we came to understand that Carmier, we can trust Carmier, but we need to talk to him, not around Shawl.
Then maybe that's who we need to talk to next. We should always talk to the next person, you know, that knows the king the best and might know some more information and track down what we're looking for. Now that my head is starting to clear. Because if I can't trust that woman, which I couldn't trust her when we walked in, then I think we need to talk to his old friend or his advisor?
Yes, advisor, longtime advisor. You know, I'm thinking when we go back and relate what we've gathered from talking to the Stonespeaker, that, you know, maybe we can talk about, well, we believe it's related to this cult of the dragon that we have had run-ins with, but maybe not necessarily bring up the name Tiamat.
That's fair.
Maybe relate it to that there could be some evil lurking that is having an effect, or could be having an effect on the rocks or the caverns or the structure within the mountains. I don't know, but you know, from what the stone giant related to us, it's not good. The feelings or the info that's coming from the ground and from the stones is not good.
Yeah, I would agree. I think maybe we ought to talk to the advisor and see if we can get him and have a secret meeting with us. But how to do that is the question.
Do we still have any of those message scrolls?
Yes, in fact, I don't think you guys have used any of the sending scrolls.
Oh, they're sending scrolls.
Well, because sending is the one that lets you contact someone anywhere on the plane, and there's only a 5% chance of being an error if you're going to another plane. So it's almost always assured you're going to get to the person.
So they can respond to us too, correct?
Yep. You can send a 25-word message to them per scroll, and they can respond with up to 25 words.
Well, we know his name. We know his name. Did the king ever give a description of what he looked like? Do we have to know what he looks out of game? Sorry, DM. Do we have to know what he looks like in order to get it sent to him, or it will send to him if I use the scroll?
Okay, which person are you talking about? The advisor?
The advisor, yeah.
I think we've seen him, haven't we? Have we not seen him at all? Or
you have seen him. You guys have, because when the other thing that, they briefly mentioned it, but they had a private audience this morning with the king in the throne room. And the advisor was the seneschal, basically, is the one that does the introductions to people that are visiting in the throne room.
And then before the king and the consort had discussion with us, he dismissed, under the Shawl's direction, they dismissed everyone except for us.
Yeah, including the advisor. So,
okay, then let's send him a message. We send him a message.
I could also, if we get close or we're in the Yeah, so I could also probably send him just a message.
Yeah, I can too.
That only he will hear, as opposed to burning a sending. I didn't prepare sending today.
Well, you guys have 8 scrolls.
Yeah, I have 2
for
on
PC.
me. So, I mean, we could burn one, send him a message, or use the scroll of sending. He'll be the only one that hears the message, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes,
And there you
and
go.
he
We
will
can tell
hear
him
it
wherever we want to meet.
telepathically, and he can respond to it telepathically.
Have him meet
I
us
believe.
somewhere.
I mean, the stone. What is it? Stone what?
The Stonespeaker
said this place is private and we can use it as we wish.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Should we do that? Reach out to him, set a time, maybe wander around town a little bit, and then come back here?
Sounds
if he
good
agrees
to me.
To meet us.
Or we could just wait on him.
Yeah.
Well, depending on how quick he can get here. Yeah. But if it's going to take a while, we might as well walk around and see if we can't gather any more intel.
True. But yeah, I think we should send that message, or that sending. Who wants to burn the scroll?
And Michael, for purposes of this, I'm going to say that Valdor was there, and even though he might have been drunk, he remembers enough of the seneschal to be able to use the sending scroll. So I'll say anybody in the party could do that.
You want me to do it? Somebody's got to count out. You got to tell me what you want me to say, and better count out how many words I can use.
Yeah, you got 25 words.
Keep track, and then I'll get ready to open.
Yeah, and you guys can go ahead and write down.
Yeah, type it up in the Discord chat or something.
Type it for me so I can read it out. I don't know what to say to him.
Okay.
Oh well,
except where we're at. Meet us here, ASAP.
Yeah, I would imagine this would be a group effort figuring out what you want the message to be. So,
yes,
perfectly logical. You guys would discuss this while you're getting ready to cast the spell.
Hey, look, guys! It'd be the first spell I get to cast. Hey.
And as you guys are doing that, you hear back in the back of the house, you hear dum 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 dum, and then you hear the sound of like this gigantic cauldron of water being poured into an enormous tub. Oh no, that's not for you, Tiny. You don't need to worry about that.
Oh my God.
You're only getting a BATH today. and you hear this.
So Mulek is working on scribbling out this message that we're going to send. So yeah, Fowler, don't ever let me get that drunk ever again.
Hey man, you're in charge of your own faculties, my man.
I know, but that was a mistake. I guess when you have a mind this heavy, it just takes a little bit to take the edge off, Well,
it seemed like you needed it, so
the performance, and after all the things we went through the past couple weeks, I guess I did need a bender, right?
Okay, so I typed up in Roll20, see if that will work.
Okay.
Is it Camir?
Carmir.
This is your party. Would it be my voice?
Say Thaldor and party, yeah.
We want a private meeting with you at Stonekeeper's location.
Yeah, I couldn't remember what this place was called. It's some cavern.
Stonespeaker's home.
That's fine. I can say that.
Yeah.
So that's within. That's perfect. Okay, so I guess I'm going to open the scroll and. All right, here we go, guys.
And
Carmir, this is Thaldor and party. We want a private meeting with you at Stonekeeper's home. When can you meet us? You can reply to this message.
And there's a few seconds go by, and there's a rather surprised response, and says, "The Stonespeaker's home.
I trust you are safe. I can meet you there at 3 this afternoon, but I must be back by 5 to prepare for tonight's banquet.
I look over at Mulek and Fallinger, says, hey, he can be here at 3 in the afternoon, but he has to be back to the castle by 5 for a banquet, so he can meet us here.
We all got to be there for the banquet. At least I got to.
Oh, you got to play tonight. That's right. I do remember that. That's weird.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So he'll meet us here at 3.
Yeah, and as a seneschal, you guys would imagine that he would probably have to be there earlier than most people to help, make sure things are getting set up properly and coordinate the staff and stuff. So
I'll say this, guys, as many feasts as this king has, I imagine him going broke and the coffers running dry in the next 3 years.
Yeah. Well, you saw that outfit that Shaw was wearing. It was made of gold and diamonds.
Yeah.
And they'll be taken right off his back if things keep happening this way.
So we've got until 3.
Yep. And it's probably a little, 10:05 now? Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that gives us plenty of time, I guess.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move us over to the map of the city.
Oh, Cairngorm Cavern. That's the name I was looking for.
Yeah, Cairngorm Cavern is the place where you guys have been with the Stonespeaker. And in fact, this right back here is the Stonespeaker's house, way in the back of the cavern. And this whole enclave is the domain of stone giants. So everyone who lives here and all of the houses built for them are sized for 20 to 24 foot tall humanoids or humanoid looking people, because technically giants are not humanoids in D&D parlance. They are their own creature type, but they look humanoid. So there was a friendly guard who walked you guys back here because he was concerned that sometimes giants will inadvertently step on small folk because they're carrying something and they're not, looking at the ground because they don't expect small folk to be underfoot. You guys, I'm sure, are probably wary enough that you would be looking out for yourselves. So I'm not that worried about you getting stepped on if you want to make your way back out to the city. But then the question begs, where would you all like to go?
Well, I guess before we leave, we would tell the Stonekeeper Giant that we will be meeting. We would like to hold a meeting here at 3:00 later today, if that's okay.
Oh, that is fine. That will be just before tea time. I'll be sure to have something. Is Carmir going to meet you here?
Yes, that's the plan.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I know some special cakes that he likes, so I will be sure to have some of them. Oh, very good. Well, have a good day. I now have to give Tiny his BATH. Don't listen to anything that you hear.
Thaldor just looks over at Fallinger and Mulek and just like in amazement, like, really now, this big old giant giving that thing a BATH.
Well, I'm not going to question it.
Me neither. Let's go.
And as you guys walk out of the house, you hear, Tiny! And then you hear this, and, no, Tiny, get in there. You're dirty, Tiny. You have to get in there. And then you hear this big sloshing. Oh, confound it, Tiny. And as you walk away, this roaring and growling and everything echoes through the cavern as you head away, and you see a few people. You see a few of the other stone giants around. They sort of look towards the stone speaker's house. Some of them have a look of concern. Some of them just sort of roll their eyes. They like, okay, whatever, however frequently he gives the bath, apparently he has to go through this every time with the bear.
Could you imagine how that bear will look after it comes out, all shaggy looking?
All right. So, you guys can safely make your way to the end of Cairngorm Cavern unless you would like to try to talk to people in here on your way out.
I don't feel like looking up to very many people. Catch my drift? Because they're not looking down.
Yeah, I'm good with just exiting this location and, kind of getting a better feel of, better understand the lay of the land in this area. We didn't really take much of a look when we beelined it here after our meeting with the king.
I might have blacked out a little bit, but I think I'd remember our path around this place.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys just
where you want to go?
I don't know. Should we just kind of just stroll around, just kind of see what's in the area?
Is there any?
We probably should.
Is there any forgers and stuff on this side of the? Is there any forges on this side of the cavern, or
I think anywhere there's forgers. Yeah. Okay.
Forges.
Forges. Yes.
Forges is
forges.
That's what I meant.
Here and here and here.
Because them people are the ones worried the most about the fires going out. They're worried about the drow interfering. Those are the people, the working people, that would know a little bit more. Like when we were going through the marketplace, remember Mulek?
Yeah.
They were worried about. I think they would know a little bit, about the Wyrmsmith, what's going on, and maybe we keep our ear to the ground and just listen to their plights.
This building here is probably physically the closest one that would be a forge.
Is this one also up here?
Yeah. That probably
some tiny ones too. Okay.
Yeah, tiny wisp of smoke there. Yeah. And that would also give you a chance to see, to look across to the other side of the city.
Well, Thaldor, I think that's a good idea. I think we passed a large one right outside the cavern, and I'm sure we can, if we look, we can see some puffs of smoke in other areas that we could check out.
I hope this time, me being the one hungover, they still don't think you're drunk.
You're funny.
I crack jokes. That's what I'm here for. I'll be here next week. So no, Fowler's got the picking and the singing. I just got the wisecracks. Can't help it. But it's all good. Let's stop at a forge, talk to these people, and ask them what they know of the Wyrmsmith, what's going on, and just get in their head a little bit. That and knowing Undercommon kind of helps a little bit, but we might be able to figure some things out.
Well, let's go to that. Let's go to this big one right out front here.
All right, come on, Captain C.
Okay. And you guys walk up that way, and as you approach, you see a sign that looks like it's made out of wood, and it proclaims Meldrum's Hammers is what the sign proclaims. Meldrum's Hammers. And there is on the bottom of the bottom right corner of the sign, there is something that looks like a symbol you've seen around the castle, or around the hold of the Deep King. So it might be part of like a royal seal or something like that. And indeed, as you get about 20 paces from the door, suddenly just appearing as if by magic, there are two Duragar in the regalia of the royal guards, and it looks like they have been standing on either side of the door of this place, and they just appear, and they're maybe 25 yards away from you when you're when you're walking up. So they're not waiting until you get right up right up to them, and they say, "Gentlemen, what are folk from the surface doing here? Do you have the leave of the king to be in this part of the city?"
I don't even say anything. I just flash the little coin. What is it? The coin with the king's face on it's what we got.
Yeah.
I just flash that and don't even look at him. Just flash it and walk in the door.
Okay, what about the rest of you?
When you said they appeared, did it look like they were there all along and just kind of turned off their invisibility?
Yeah. Yep. Looked like they had been there all along and just boom.
I'm going to pull out my token as well, but just kind of see what the reaction is to Thaldor just kind of walking right in before I try to step in.
They look at the token that he has, and then they look at you and they see the token, and they indicate you should turn yours over.
What do you mean? What do you like? Hand it to him?
Well, no. Show them. Not hand it to them, but show them the other side of it.
Yeah, I clearly show them the token with my name and the king seal.
Mulek.
I'm just listening as I enter the door. I'm just listening like,
Ah, okay. So you all of you have tokens, and I'll presume that Krenraid would show his. Good. And Falliger, you just follow suit, pull yours out, and show it. Go.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. All right. They're like, oh, very well. Thank you. It's just unusual to see surface folk unaccompanied in this sector of the city. Carry on. And they don't try to block you from going in.
All right. I'll walk in.
Okay. So you go in, and
what took you so long?
It's a hot forge in here, and there is a brawny looking dwarf who has hair that at one time probably was red, but is now gone, streaked with gray, and is pulled back in a ponytail, a very curly ponytail, and has a large gray beard just sort of fanning out across his chest. And of course, he has the gray skin of a Duragar, and he's standing before a forge, and there is a much younger dwarf working the bellows on the side of that. And this dwarf has a metal haft that looks like he's making the handle for a hammer, and he's got that in the coals, and he is heating it, and they're working the bellows, and then he pulls it out, and it's just like the bottom 2/3 of it is just glowing red hot. And he brings it over and he puts it on an anvil, and he takes this hammer and Thaldor, it looks like this hammer probably weighs about 20 pounds, and he just sort of picks it up very casually. And then as he goes to lift it over his head, he just sort of does this thing like where he sort of spins the hammer in his one hand, and he just brings it down, wham, on the haft of this, and then up again and spins the hammer around again, and wham, wham, wham. He just is slamming this hammer down on this thing about 5 or 6 times, and that's just sort of echoing out through there, and it's very loud. And of course, metal striking metal. It's got that high pitched sort of overtone, that ting when it hits the metal. But he's just, you would not want to put your hand underneath that hammer the way he's bringing it down on this thing. And then he gives it a few whacks, and then he seems to notice that people are in the shop, and he takes it and he holds it up, and he sort of looks at it, and he sort of squints at it, and he looks at it, and he sort of nods to himself, and he takes the hammer, puts it down, and then he takes the haft over, and he puts it into a large steel bucket or large steel keg that is full of some clear liquid. And he puts it in there, and it hisses and everything, and the bubbles and boils and whatnot. And then he takes it out of that, and it's all cooled. It's not glowing anymore when he takes it out. And then he goes over and he sticks it into another vat of clear liquid. And that liquid doesn't bubble like water, but there's this just little hint of smoke that comes off of it, and smells a little bit like burning oil. And then he pulls it out of that, and he looks at the haft again, and he sort of nods, and then he sets it down on a table, and then he takes his hands and he sort of rubs them on his leather apron, and he spins to face you, and he says, "Whoa, oh, well, hello. My name is, what was my name that I picked?
Was it Meldrum?
Meldrum, yes, that's my name. My name is Meldrum. Welcome to Meldrum's Hammers. How can I help you?"
So what's with the guards posted up outside your door, Meldrum?
Oh, we're working on a royal commission. It is one of the perks that we get as being a business that has won the favor of King Steel Shadow himself. May he reign forever.
And he says,
They are here to make sure that none of my competitors try to steal my trade secrets, or that people think that I might be an easy business to rob because I have won the king's favor. Anybody that tried to sneak in here would be in for a rude surprise. Well, since you are surface folk and you don't have a Duergar escort, I can only presume you must be here on the king's business. So I ask you again, how can I help you?
Well, first of all, you could tell me what you're working on there. It's quite interesting.
Oh, yes. Well, I am making this is a haft for a battle hammer that is going to be a present from the captain of the King's Guard to his son for his 40th birthday. He's almost a man. 2 more years, he will be fully grown and of marriageable age, but he is now enlisted in the army, and he doesn't have a proper battle hammer of his own, so I am making one for him.
Well, the craftsmanship looks really well made.
Oh, well, thank you. You have an eye for weapons? You certainly don't look like a smith. No offense, but you don't have the build for it. And your hands don't seem calloused enough.
No, sir, I'm not a smith. You are correct, but I do enjoy using them as weapons.
Oh, a connoisseur then. Ha ha ha. Well, and I didn't catch your name, sir.
Well, forgive me. I remiss myself. My name's Falazure. Falazure Ardenaeus.
Not the Falazure. Not the famous surface bard who was performing at the Shattered Spire last night.
Oh, you heard of me?
Yes, I did, and it was just my luck that this commission came in late yesterday, and of course, when you're being asked to do something on behalf of the palace, you don't turn them away simply to go enjoy yourself. I was certainly sad that I missed the performance. I've heard from folk today that it was wonderful.
Well, you're very kind. I appreciate you.
And I heard that you had accompaniment on the cowbell.
Oh, are you familiar with the cowbell?
Well, to be honest, no, but it sounds very interesting.
Well, we had an anvil too.
An anvil?
That's
And
right.
Oh, cursed I am for having to miss that.
Well, it's all like my pappy used to say. He says, well, you're going to have a good time or we're going to beat it out of you.
I think your pappy must have been quite a fellow.
Hey, Meldrum, my name is Mulek.
Mulek. Oh, that's a good name.
It's quite a fine looking hammer you're making there.
Oh, thank you. Well, this is only the haft. And a lot of people don't know that you have to make the haft first before you make the head, because the haft is what carries and supports the weight of the weapon. If the haft is not made properly, then the best hammerhead in the world will be useless, a lump of iron that will be on the battlefield, and you'll be left with nothing but a stick in your hand, or half of a stick in your hand, that will liable get you killed if the haft is not made properly.
Makes sense to me. Is that your specialty, hammers, or is that all you make here? Hammers?
Well, it is our specialty. Of course, when we have a commission from the king, if the king, may King Steel Shadow live forever and reign forever, when we have a commission from the palace, we will make what is requested. But our specialty is hammers. I have a cousin whose specialty is the halberd, and I have another cousin whose specialty is the longsword. So you see, we have understood that a good craftsman can make many kinds of weapons, but when you specialize in a single type of weapon, then you can really refine the craft to make the best possible examples of these weapons.
I noticed when we came in here, it's very hot. Is it always this hot?
Well, I hadn't noticed, but then again, I've been running this shop for over 80 years now, so I've kind of gotten used to it. You might say that I actually felt like there was a bit of a draft today. But if you're not used to being around the forge, yes, I suppose it's quite hot, but then what else would you expect? We work with we work with molten metal here. Wouldn't be very good if we had a bunch of snow falling, would it?
How do you keep it so hot?
Oh, well, that is because of the blessing of the Wyrmsmith himself. Yes, the Wyrmsmith comes by every 2 or 3 days, and he heats the magma below the shop to make sure that it stays hot and gives us a steady supply of heat.
That's a good question. Wait a minute. Whoa, sorry, Mulek. Magma below the shop. Are you telling me there's magma below every forge, or is it just one big pool of magma?
Oh, well. Now, my friend, the city of Gracklstugh was built on an ancient volcano. There was active volcanic tubes throughout this area, lava tubes. And in fact, the gigantic cavern that is now the Dark Lake just beyond the city, that was once a huge sea of molten magma, if you believe what the stone giants tell us. But the volcanoes have long gone dormant. But there are those that know where to find magma and bring it to the city. And the blessings of the Wyrmsmith are that he can heat that stone up and melt it yet again, so that it will provide heat for several days before it begins to cool. And then he has to come by again. So, of course, we always keep our tribute for the Wyrmsmith, as is only right. He is after all, next to the king, probably the greatest resource for the economy of Gracklstugh, and we like to keep him happy because he keeps us all working.
Does this Wyrmsmith come in through these front doors that we came in, or does it come in a different way?
Oh, no. The Wyrmsmith does not come inside. There is a outside, next to the back of the building, there is an access hatch that can be opened. It would be big enough for you or me to fall into, but it is just small enough that the Wyrmsmith can stick his snout in, and he breathes down into that chamber and heats up.
So what do you give? What do you give the Wyrmsmith?
What don't you give the Wyrmsmith? We give the Wyrmsmith the choicest offerings. Every month, I make one item that is a bejeweled item, an item not meant for the battlefield, but that is meant more for would be for you or I, something we would put high on a mantle and put in a place of honor as an object of art. It is a great creative outlet for me. I encrust it with what jewels I can. Sometimes it's rubies, sometimes sapphires, sometimes emeralds. And then the first time he comes by every month, I offer that to him in tribute. And I give 50 or 100 gold, whatever is asked by the keepers of the flame, for their upkeep. But the greatest gift always goes to the Wyrmsmith himself. Thumberchod is a great friend to every craftsman in this city, and we rely on him.
Do you know where they keep Thumberchod? Where does he reside?
Oh, well, Well, now, I'm not sure that it would be such a good idea for you surface folk to go poking around Themberchaud's lair. He is not much of a fan of those who come to him unless they are summoned.
I just want to make sure I don't accidentally stumble into his lair and get him upset.
Oh, you would not stumble into his lair. No. It is toward the east of the city, along the south wall. It is not far away from the hold of the Deep King, actually. See, a large cavern opening on the south wall before you get there. But you will see plenty of the Keepers of the Flame out there, and they will prevent anyone from going in. It would be quite foolish of someone to try to get past them and go in to see Themberchaud. Seeing Themberchaud is probably the last thing they would see in that case.
Probably so. Have there been any incidences with Themberchaud? Any accidents have occurred?
Oh, not that I know of. Not that I know of. He has always been as quiet as a mouse. When he walks up, you hardly even know. You would think to see him, such a massive creature, would shake the ground when he walks, but he seems to pad as quietly as a house cat. The only time you know he's here is when you hear the great bellow of his breath as he reheats the magma below the shop. Then that does, in fact, rattle the very walls and the very stone of the cavern. It's a marvelous thing to behold. But I make it a point to always be inside the shop and never be outside. I don't want him to sneeze.
I look over.
I can imagine that would be bad.
Mulek, you know Elvish, right? I think Mulek knows Elvish.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, okay. I look over to Mulek and Elvish, and I tell him, because you know magic really well, more than I do to a degree. Can someone fake dragon fire?
They would have to be pretty powerful, I guess, to do that strong of a dragon fire. And I know that I couldn't do anything like that.
I know that Fallinger understands Elvish too, but so this is like a group conversation. So I'm like, because the reason I'm saying that is he says that this dragon moves so quietly that it's not rumbling the cavern.
Yeah.
And how big, DM, from his description, would I know how big this dragon is?
You've heard that it's an adult dragon, and adult red dragons. Let me take a quick peek at something over here.
Because as I'm talking to Mulek and Fallinger, that would make no sense, especially in tight quarters.
Can dragons stealth? Yeah, I don't know.
I wouldn't think so. I don't. Fallinger, what do you think? You know stories of dragons and stuff. What do you think's going on here? I'm thinking they're doing some type of bait and switch, is what I would call it. Is that somebody is a really powerful mage that can fake dragon fire, and they're hiding something. That's my opinion.
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, magic fire in itself is innately magical in itself.
Well, and the Stonekeeper didn't make. I mean, he is aware of the dragon. I can't imagine mean, he didn't say anything about not ever seeing the dragon.
But that can be done with an illusion.
Maybe.
Because I'm curious, just the way this Dagar described it, Duragar described it, that the thing can't even, walks quiet as a church mouse or as quiet as a tomcat. Something in my head, I've been sitting here thinking about it, just doesn't add up.
Yeah, it's a good point. Maybe see if we can find someone who's scheduled to have their magma relit. Maybe keep an eye out, see what happens.
Yeah, you would know that from the tip of the nose to the tip of the tail, an adult dragon, an adult red dragon, could get as large as, when they're stretched out, probably as large as 90 feet long, and with a wingspan of maybe 150 feet when it's fully unfurled. Now, at the same time, dragons also are supposed to be able to get themselves into rather small spaces, or spaces that would be smaller than you would think a creature of that size could get into. So sort of his analogy to a cat kind of rings a little bit true, that they do sort of have that. There's something vaguely feline about them, even though it's also reptilian and enormous. So, like a cat can kind of curl itself up into a little ball, or can sort of squeeze into a tiny little box or something like that. A dragon sometimes will lair or nest in a space that you think would be far too small for something that size.
So with the description that we've heard, would Mulek or Thaldor or any of us know that a dragon could do this?
Why don't you make me some history checks? Or wait, would it be history? Would it be?
Yes, it would be history. Because I rolled a 27.
I'm trying to think whether it would be history or nature.
I have an 8 for nature. It's the same thing.
Okay.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, no, hold on.
But my roll was much worse for nature.
Okay. No.
My roll was better for nature.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I with the same bonus, I'll give you the 27 either way for nature or for knowledge. So, you've heard stories about adventurers that go hunting dragons, and usually it's like one person that winds up surviving, and they will tell you that the reason everybody else died is because the dragon snuck up on them. And it's like they're supposed to be hunting a big dragon, and yet somehow it sneaks up on you. So apparently they can be quiet when they want to be.
Yeah, Thaldor, it rings true. Dragons can be quiet.
Yeah, well, that puts my mind at ease, but still, something seems off.
Yeah.
And I don't mean about the dragon. There's something wrong, let's just say rotten, with the Keepers of the Flame.
Yeah, well, we haven't met any yet. So.
No, but I'm going back to the story that our buddy that we sold the armor and bought the armor from and the weapons.
Mm-hmm.
He had said something was going on with the Keepers of the Flame.
Well, there was a disagreement between the Keepers of the Flame and the Stone Guard.
Correct. So something is disconnecting somewhere, and we need to figure out where.
Well, Meldrum, I think we've taken up some of your time. Guess we should let you get back to work. Thank you for letting us look at your wonderful forge.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And Falazur, I will keep my ears out if you are holding another performance sometime at the Shattered Spire. I hope I will be able to get there.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'll be playing tonight a little bit for the king at his banquet if you can get invited to that.
Oh, I doubt I will be on the guest list, but trust me, if the king invites me, I will be there. And he says, I would be there to hear your playing in any case. And then he lowers his voice and he says, and you know it would be very bad for business if I offended the king by not accepting an invitation of his.
I'll look over at Falloser and say, I'll make sure he's on the guest list.
That's more like it.
Oh, well, if you can do that, friend, I would be in your service. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you for stopping by my shop today.
Well, you know, I don't do this very often, but if you got something you've been commissioned to build here, and I might sign it, put my signature in it, might help the price of it.
Oh, well, there are occasional Duergar who get it in their head to follow the ways of the bard and then go on adventures. If you could sign your name in the haft of this other hammer that I'm about to make, I will make sure that it is a very fancy hammer and that I sell it to someone who is an adventuring bard. With your signature on it, I know it will command a top gold piece value. Would you do that for me?
I would be honored to do that, friend.
Oh, and he goes and he selects you see he has a bunch of halves sitting over there, and these are more normal looking hammer halves, and he selects several of them and he looks at them and whatnot, and then there's one that's kind of a little bit fancier, and he grabs a rag and he rubs that, and he looks at it, and then he sort of sights it down the haft to make sure that it's perfectly straight the way he wants it, and then he points at his assistant who banks the coals who pumps the bellows, and then he goes over and he heats up this haft until it starts to just barely glow. And then he points to another assistant and he says, bring a stylus. And the assistant goes and grabs out of a bin, he grabs several little iron rods that come to a very fine point at one end. And he selects he grabs 2 or 3 of them, and he then gets one that he thinks is probably the best one, and he brings that one over to Falazur, and he holds it out to Falazur, and he says, just hold that like you would a quill. And when Master Melgrim puts the haft down in front of you on the anvil, just sign your name in the metal.
And so it's clearly something, and there's only one end that comes to a point, and you presume that's probably the one that you would write in air quotes,
Correct.
write with, yeah. So he Melgrim gets that haft, and he brings it over and he lays it down, and he's holding it with these tongs, and his assistant just lightly holds the other end with a pair of tongs so that it is nice and steady. And this quill, if you will, the stylus, is maybe a foot long, and like a 3
Foot
inch.
long.
Yeah, it's like got a 3-inch tip on it, so you don't have to get your fingers too close to that glowing hot
Right.
metal.
All right. I'll sign it. You want me to make a sleight of hand check or something?
Make a performance check or sleight of hand, whichever is better for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll let you do either one, whichever is better.
Guidance.
Oh,
Dang.
oh my goodness. And yes, so 25. You have 29 with the guidance. It may be the finest signature you've ever made, and it's clear. I mean, the weaponsmith and the apprentices, they both just are they're all just sort of looking at the haft, and their eyes are just wide, and clearly they have never seen anything like this, and they all just slowly look at Falazure, and
Will that work, boys?
Malcolm says, "Truly, the legends do not do you justice. You honor me. Thank you.
Hush now. I'm just a simple bard. I'm just a simple man.
Oh, you hear that? Only the great ones always are looking to make themselves learn their craft even better. Oh, thank you, Falazure, thank you."
And he puts the tongs down, and he reaches out with his dwarven hands, and even though he's a dwarf, that his fingers are kind of stubby little dwarven fingers, the palms of his hands are easily as large as the palms of yours are, because he's just this guy that's been working on this forge for so long, and he gives you a two-handed handshake, and he doesn't squeeze your hand hard, but just sort of the way his hand hits yours, it feels like you're being gripped by stone. I mean, he's just that calloused, and he pumps your hands a couple of times, and he says,
"Oh, thank you, and God bless all of you.
Well-
Enjoy your stay in Gracklstugh."
Before I go, do you have a shop that we can peruse your mastercraft works and whatnot, or do you give your items to a vendor and he sells them for you, or how does that work?
Oh, yes. I am in arrangement with some brothers that or some in-laws that work in the Blade Bazaar. They sell a variety of different weapons and armor, and they are among the finest merchants in all of the Dark Lake district. Everything that we sell here is sold in the Blade Bazaar because there's demand for it both within the city and beyond. I'm sure that I'm sure that many of my weapons have made their way to the surface and have been used. I hope not been abused. I hope they have been used and have given good service to folk both on the surface as well as throughout the Underdark.
Well, if we might want to stop by the Blade Bazaar, what's the name of the shop?
Oh, what is the name of the shop? What is the name of the shop? Oh, it's almost like you might have already been there. Okay, so
Dolgrim, the weaponsmith.
Dolgrim, the weaponsmith. Yes, Dolgrim. He sells my my wares for me, and he repairs. He is a very fine craftsman on his own right. He repairs weapons. I forge things anew. He reforges them when people have broken them. It is a good business that we have together.
Very well. We appreciate your hospitality and hope to see you soon.
Well, and I hope to see you all as well. And he gives you guys a little wave. And then you guys step out of the shop, or?
Yeah. You know,
Okay.
I was curious of taking a look at that cavern that we crossed the other day.
Yeah.
You guys want to go take a look?
Hell, it can't hurt. Let's do it.
It's not too
Let's
far
rock and
away.
roll.
Okay.
I guess we're kind of next to it.
Yeah, you guys are over there. Okay. Mulek, you guys begin walking out of the shop, and you get approximately here as you're leaving the shop, and you feel your backpack just slightly move. And
yeah, I turn around and look to see what's causing my backpack to move.
You turn around and you don't see anybody.
I go ahead and I pull out my little revolver and I shoot fairy fire out right in the direction of that I felt the tug on my backpack.
Okay. You shoot fairy fire. Okay. Well, then you do that, and the wall of the building lights up and glows. But there's no outline of any creature.
What the hell was that for, Mulek?
Something just tugged on my bag.
Oh, hey! Now that he says that, Faldor, you see that there's a corner of a piece of parchment sticking out of Mulek's backpack.
I grab it quickly.
Okay, you grab it. There is a message there that is in common. It's written in common. Looks like it's probably written by somebody who is not the probably not the greatest penmanship in common. And if you check your PMs in Discord, you'll see what it says.
What the hell you got there?
speak in Elvish. Nobody down here probably understands Elvish. The
Okay.
message reads, which is weird, how the hell did it end up in your bag? Meet me across the street in the alley. Deirdre?
Deirdre.
Deercrum? Direcrum?
Well,
If you didn't make a scene with firing off that against the wall, I guess that's a good distraction as any.
Well, I'll quickly dismiss it. It's concentration, so it's gone.
Okay. Well, the bang alone, probably.
Oh, no, it doesn't
make a noise.
Oh, it doesn't make a noise?
Fairy fire doesn't make a noise, no.
Good.
well,
I guess we should go meet this person, I guess. Do you know the name?
What did you say the name was?
Daerkum. Deercrum?
kind of character does
Diagram?
sounds familiar.
I'm looking through my notes. You're the mastermind. Does that name ring a bell?
DM, does that name within the past
nope.
30 days?
No.
Huh.
It may be similar to other names you've heard, but I don't believe it is the same name that you've
Close
heard.
to Dolgrim, but I don't know any whatever you said. So, all right. Guess keep your eyes open. Let's
Keep my hand on my dagger.
Yeah, I'm gonna be prepared for anything.
And as you guys look across from where you are, you do in fact see an alley between two buildings that leads off in there, and you see a barrel, like a large wine barrel, is there. And you see, like, just sort of poking up over the top of the barrel, you see some bushy eyebrows that looks like it probably belongs to a dwarf of some kind, and then it ducks down behind the barrel.
How far away are we from it?
You're maybe 50 feet away from the opening of the alley, and then this person is maybe 20.
And did we all see that? Okay.
Yeah. It's clear that the person was in the alley so that they would not be seen by anybody who's not looking down the alley, and was in a position that they could quickly duck and hide if somebody that they did not want to see was seeing them. But also it's clear that they know you are right over there, and they were looking right at you, and they were sort of expecting you to see them.
Do we see anyone else in the area?
No.
Well, I look at Thaldor and Faliger and Krenraid and say, well, he's over there. Should go see what he wants.
Might as well. If he's stealthy enough to put that in your backpack without me noticing, that's insane.
And if he wanted to hurt us, he could have already done it. Let's go see what he wants.
Sure.
Yeah, he made a really, really good roll on his stealth check.
Or mage hand or something.
Yeah. Okay. So you walk over there and go into the alley, and when you get to about where that barrel is, you see a Duergar. And this Duergar has what looks like workman's clothes on, but he doesn't look like workman's clothes belong on him. He looks a little out of place wearing workman's clothes, and like he doesn't seem terribly comfortable in that garb. And he has a little brooch that he's holding in his hand, and he holds it up to show it to you. And it doesn't necessarily mean anything to you until he speaks. And he says, "Hello, gentlemen. My name is Dercum, and I was sent by Gartakar Zundorn, the leader of our order. I am from the Keepers of the Flame. We need to talk with you urgently." And
I look over at them and I'm like, yeah, I knew something was up.
And upon meeting this guy, we are going to go ahead and take our break because we're 35 after the hour. So let's go ahead and take about 10 minutes. We'll come back around 45 after. Chat, thank you guys for all hanging out with us so much. This evening, we're going to be about 10 minutes. If you have any questions for the players or for myself, go ahead and throw that into the chat while we are gone. And we will be back in a few minutes and resume our session. I'm going to go ahead and put the music on and put the slate up for you.
So, Ken, how is it where you're at right now?
Well, it was pretty bad coming in. Like Saturday was fine. I got down here on Saturday. Everything was good. I should have bought gas, but I forgot. So I should fill my tank up. But then the weather started rolling in Sunday, and then pretty immediately, like people started losing power, and we got about I don't know exactly how much snow we got, but I'm gonna say we got at least 6 inches.
Yeah, it got deep here, buddy. Like it. All right, so
I think total snow we got overall through the week was about 6 inches.
geez.
We had Texas. We had some millions of people like lose power, and people's pipes were breaking, and it was just heartbreaking to watch these poor people on the news and stuff, like their pipes are busted and they're just devastated. They had no power, no heat, and all their clothes and things were being ruined. And then a lot of like the shelters and women's shelters and things like that, their pipes were breaking, and the water would get all over their, what little possessions they had and clothes, and it ruined all that stuff too. So it's been pretty bad out here. There's been a big outcry of, somebody, holding the people accountable and just.
Well, see, Texas is not used to that kind of snow. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's been snow in Texas, but not so fast and so hard, coming down, and
yeah, but
cold weather too, the cold air, that cold of air,
We got hit in 2011 with a bad storm, but I don't think it wasn't as bad as this one. And I mean, they should have learned, like Texas is the only state that's not regulated. They're self-regulated, and they're not on the national power grid. So the energy they're so greedy down here that they don't think it's profitable to build any new power plants or anything like that, because of the energy would be, so cheap, and they just couldn't afford it. Well, I mean, they could afford it, but they don't think they'll make their money back. So it's just all powered by greed.
Yep, that's the world for you. But it's sad though. Like I said, my buddy lives in Texas, and he was like, yeah, I just got my power back after 3 days. Went and stayed with my brother. He had power, but we ain't got no power nowhere else. So, we just got it back, and I'm like, my God, I was without water for 2 days because the main pipe that runs into my house ended up freezing solid. So that was fun. It didn't bust, but I wrapped it with some heat tape. So it's been heat taped. It's staying warm, and it's supposed to get up in the 50s and 60s by the end of the week. So we got dumped so much snow. I've never seen this much snow in my childhood or even adulthood. I think the last time, 2003, we got a good amount of snow. and it came down fast. So yeah, I would compare this to 2003.
Yeah, I got the hell out of Oklahoma on Saturday. I knew it was going to be bad. I put my bathroom sink on a good solid drip, put a heater under my kitchen sink, and I got the hell out of Oklahoma because they were going to have like negative 10 degree weather, and like they were talking about like 5-foot snow drifts, possible snow drifts, and I don't even know how bad it was. I didn't check the news or anything, but I came down here to Texas, and then the weather was worse here than I thought, and so now I'm just kind of stuck here until probably Saturday until all the gas stations sold out of like gasoline. It's so bad down here, man. Yeah, I laugh, but what can you say? I don't even know how many billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars of damages there's been, and how many people have suffered. People were so cold they were like lighting fires inside their homes, with like barbecue grills and stuff like that, and burning down their own houses and killing people.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's how cold people were.
Yeah, Dratz is in the chat. He said Maryland's supposed to get the weather you guys had. Yeah, well, hopefully it goes by faster than it did here. It's sat here for a while.
Maryland is definitely more prepared for that type of weather than Texas, I guarantee you.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, my public works guys, I've been off since, Sunday night? Yeah. I've been off since Sunday night when it really started. And I've been off, I'm off Thursday and Friday, but I've been off all week because
they didn't want you guys out there putting sand and shit on the roads.
Well, no, no. My guys downtown don't do that.
They just sweep and clean up the trash and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
My guys don't do that, but I used to do salt and plowing and stuff like that. Metro's got some good trucks. We've got good equipment. Auger boxes and salt spreaders and plows. We've got good equipment to do the job. It's just so much, you're talking about. Yeah.
I'm in a popular city.
Yeah.
I'm in a popular city outside of Dallas by about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, about 30 minutes, I guess. And there are no trucks. They have nothing. They refuse to buy anything. So it literally pretty much shut down the entire town. My brother lives on the opposite side of the town than my sister. He had power the entire time because he's on the same grid that the police station is on. And like there's a clinic or a hospital or something. So he had power the entire time. And I've been staying in a hotel except for the last night. So, they had power. So, but yeah, it's been rough. It's crazy.
I'm just thankful.
It was so cold, dude. It was so cold. Check this out. All the gas plants, their gas lines froze, and so they tried to use water jet sprayers to defrost the gas lines, the injectors. And then the water pumps actually froze, and then it froze the water lines. So they're just like, shit.
Dratz also said they're bringing plumbers from other states to Texas to help with all the busted pipes.
Oh man, if you're a plumber, you're gonna make a killing. You are gonna make a killing.
But yeah, so how's it up your way, James? Unless he stepped away for a minute.
Yeah.
But
I don't know where James lives. Did he ever say?
Virginia. I think he lives outside of Virginia.
Outside of Virginia?
Yeah.
I imagine he's getting hit. Or he did get hit.
Yeah. But it's been crazy. Like I said, it's been nuts. Like, I can imagine what East Tennessee got, like up in the mountains. Oh, I bet it's beautiful up there in Gatlinburg and stuff right now. I bet it's just mountains.
We got. I don't know about you guys, but we got like beautiful. Like, we got a skier, snowboarder / ski resort's wet dream of snow. It was super dry powder, big flakes and dry. Like there was hardly any moisture to it,
Oh wow.
which
I was
is
gonna say,
really
Ken-
unusual for Texas.
Ken's the lucky one, man. He's down there. What's your low tonight, Ken? Or I mean, Gally. Gally, what is it like?
Oh my goodness.
Like
The low
60?
the low tonight is going to be 70.
oh
my
my God. Poor pitiful
the-
Gally.
Galabon,
The
at one
low-
point,
The low
one
tomorrow
point.
night is going to be 47.
Oh, no, that's a big swing.
wow! What are you
Whoa.
guys
Yeah.
gonna do? Are
I
like
don't know where.
are you like the old people? Are they freaking out? They're like, oh God, 40 degrees in Florida.
We'll have to like break up the lawn furniture and have a bonfire or something.
I was gonna say no. Watch, you'll see Galabon walk outside with a big like big parka on. He'll walk outside
Yeah.
with a big
You know-
parka. And in 46-degree weather, I'll walk outside in a hoodie. Come on.
Put this into perspective. At one point, Galibon during the day had 100 degrees warmer temperature than I had.
Yep.
How
That's
mind blowing is that? How mind blowing is that? 100
is
degrees
that?
Fahrenheit warmer.
Yep.
What was you?
'Cause
Negative?
we were in
what?
the 80s. Yeah. So they must.
'Cause we
have
were-
been in
we were
negative
like-
teens.
Well, basically 100. Oh, what? We were like negative 10 where my apartment was.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
In Oklahoma,
With
was
like
negative 10?
with like 25, 30 mile an hour winds. Yeah, dude, or more.
Yeah, with wind chill, yeah, you guys were probably 20 below or more with winds like that.
Yeah, they
Gee.
weren't kidding when they said 5-foot snow drifts.
Yeah. I mean, now I've lived in Minnesota. So, I mean, obviously I know what cold weather is. And I don't try to pretend anything here is bad in the winter.
James, you definitely have to tell us how it was in your neck of the woods.
We just got a little bit of snow, but it's good here.
How cold did it get there? Did you get that bitter cold like they were getting out in the Midwest? Or
No, not that bad. Got probably down into the low 30s, maybe. Well, 20s, maybe.
The low here tonight at my house is going to be 10 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah, the weird thing is, how deep in the Southwest, how far south the bitter cold is going. Over there into Oklahoma and Texas, like it is. We have at work, I work for a relatively small company. We have an outsourcer that does a lot of our benefits and HR and stuff like that. And they were sending out messages to all of their client companies. And everything is pretty much automated, so nothing gets interrupted. But they were saying that there would be longer than usual call queues at their offices in Texas during part of this week because of the severe weather. And, even though in the COVID times they're having a short staff anyway, being in the office because of all the combination of power outages and even fewer people that were able to get to the office than normal. They had even fewer people able to be on the phones and taking calls. So they were just saying, please be patient if you have to call in for anything because of the situation. So it's like, oh, okay. And I was thinking, my goodness, if they're getting storms that bad down into Texas, then yeah, this really is a very rare event to have something like that go on. All right. And as we mentioned at the top of the show, our friend Paul is in the UK, and he is unable to join us because in the little village where he lives, they are without power tonight. So it's not just here in the U.S. that people are getting hammered by this cold weather. It's even over in the British Isles and perhaps across Europe as well. I know living here in Florida, it feels like we kind of live on a different planet sometimes. It's with the way the weather is here, so far different than anything else in the continental U.S. And thank you guys on the chat. We've got a nice group of people, both active in the chat and lurking. So we appreciate you guys who are joining us tonight. Now, before we went on our break, the party had received a message and then been met in an alley by a person who calls himself Dercum. And Dercum is apparently a member of this much maligned Keepers of the Flame that that the party has heard about over the last few sessions. And he is interested in talking to the characters. So you see this gentleman in front of you. He is a Duergar, has a bushy beard, has basically street clothes on, but is holding a brooch that, and this brooch is a stylized cauldron that has flames leaping up out of it, and it looks to be, polished, either probably plated in gold or something like that. So it looks fancy, but he's not wearing it because he's not in his normal clothes. He says, I need to speak with you. There's trouble in the city. I don't know if you've heard anything about that.
Well, we're here. Speak up.
Well, the Wyrmsmith's heir is missing.
Yeah. Any idea where it's at?
No, but we do have an idea. We think the Grey Ghosts are behind it.
Sorry, the who?
The Grey Ghosts.
The Grey Ghosts. Who are the Grey Ghosts?
Oh, the Grey Ghosts are an order of bandits and sophisticated robbers that operate out of the Whorlstone tunnels.
Sorry, you said Whirlstone?
Whorlstone tunnels, yes.
Whirlstone tunnels.
I'm going to put that into the Discord for you guys.
The Whorlstone tunnels are a series of tunnels that are underneath the streets of Gracklstugh. Have you... obviously, you're on this side of the city, so you've come across the Great Furrow.
Is that deep cavern that got all those little bridge walkways across?
Yes. I don't know if you noticed when you crossed, but there are dozens, if not hundreds, of tiny little openings into tunnels. Those are the Whorlstone tunnels. That's the warren of mess where the Grey Ghosts operate.
I give Thaldor a look of like, "Yeah, this is your realm."
Why are you blaming it on me?
Well, I'm not blaming it on you. I'm like, bandits under the city.
Just because. Let me explain. Under here is a lot different than the guilds that I travel through above ground.
Well, I know that.
What I also mean by that is we are outsiders. Even though we have the presence of the king, do you really think me walking into a group of bandits saying, "Hey, my uncle is Dorzafir. He's the greatest thief ever known on the top side," like that's not going to fly down here, buddy?
No,
wait,
I'm not.
You know Dorzafir?
I might have lied. Yeah, that's my uncle, by the way.
He doesn't say that.
That's what Thaldor would be like. He'd be a little naive. He'd be like, "Oh, really now?"
No, but Thaldor, that's not my point.
What?
You may not have an in with them, but they may think like you think. You know what I mean? They may use same strategies or same,
Tactics?
Tactics, yes. Maybe you might be able to see things that I can't see, but
Oh wait, I come in handy for something for once. I'm playing. I love you, Mulek. No, thing is man. Well, I mean, yeah. What about that one gnome girl that came and saw us? You know what I'm saying? She would know more. I'd imagine she would travel that path. You know what I'm saying?
Shh.
Right.
I don't know about that.
Right. Other than that, I wouldn't know where to start.
Okay, well, we're done speaking in Elvish.
Exactly.
Okay. He's kind of looking at you guys as you all are speaking, and clearly you're going back and forth about something, and he's a little anxious. He says,
We can pay you, of course. But if you're able to find the heir, it's extremely important that you bring it to the keepers of the flame. You see, the Wyrmsmith, he expects us to keep his heir safe, and well, we've been trying to avoid telling him that his heir is missing, but he likes to sometimes see his heir from time to time, and well, I'm afraid he's getting a little impatient and might be getting suspicious.
Insight check. Is this guy telling the truth?
"Go ahead and roll your insight." Oh, he's being perfectly honest as far as you all can tell.
Mulek?
I blame you.
Damn.
He's telling the truth, guys. Why us though? We're new here. Why are you?
Well, why you? For the same reason that the crown trusts you. There are too many that we cannot trust in the city. We've heard about what happened at the Shattered Spire yesterday. Heard how you unbidden protected the citizens of the town. That means that you put the lives of the common folk ahead of your own profit, and that means that you're basically good folk. So there's not many that we could trust, and the faces of those of us who are in the Keepers of the Flame would be known, I'm afraid, to too many of the gray ghosts. I don't know how many of their agents have perhaps even infiltrated our number.
I look at Mulek and Faliger, and I start speaking in Elvish again. So wait a minute. They misplaced the egg, the dragon's egg. They keep saying air, and I keep hearing egg. And they're thinking the gray ghost. Is that the drow?
They're the bandits.
The drow bandits, right? Or just bandits of all creed?
I don't know. He hasn't told us.
Good point. Maybe I should ask him. Hey, buddy. Tell me this. Is this bandit group that you're talking about, are they a mixed creed of people? Are they drow? Are they Duragar? Are they just one race? I just need to really know that.
You say drow, and he sort of seems startled by that, and he says, well, they're mostly Duragar, but there are a few Sverfneblin and some of the those are the deep gnomes, and some of the Darrow that are among their number. In fact, there's perhaps the best way of finding where the Grey Ghosts have their lair is by following a Grey Ghost agent. It's a Darrow named Droki, and he travels back and forth from the Whirlstone Caverns to the Blade Bazaar, often on business for the Grey Ghosts, to the Thieves Guild in the Dark Lake District.
Now I see why we were told to stay away from the Dark Lake District.
Yeah. Duricum, tell me, why are not the Stone Guards helping you find the missing heir?
Well, the person who should answer that is probably more correctly our leader. Would be Gartakar Zundorn, and I'm going to put that in the thing. Okay. That one is the Whirlstone Tunnels. That's where they are. And this is Gartakar Zundorn is the leader of the Keepers of the Flame. And he, this fellow talking to you, says it would not be my place to speak of the friction that has grown up in recent months between the Keepers of the Flame and the Stone Guard.
Well, you have an opinion. You have an opinion, don't you?
Yes. Something. I fear something may have befallen the king. He hasn't seemed himself these last 2 months. He seems suspicious of everyone, and that seems to have made the factions suspicious of each other, and even suspicions growing within the factions. Guards hardly trust each other. I'm outside of my leader of my clan. I'm not sure how many of the Keepers of the Flame I can trust.
Are you meeting us on behalf of your leader?
I was asked to find you by him, yes, and see if you would be amenable to taking up this mission for us, or at least meeting him to see if he can persuade you.
I look at the others and say, I think maybe before risking our lives, we should probably meet this leader. What do you think?
I look over at him and I say, "Why are you coming to? You're coming to us behalf of yourself and what you're feeling, not what the rest of your group feels because the discontent amongst your group."
No. The discontent between the Keepers of the Flame and the Stone Guard.
Mm-hmm.
Related to the king. So remember, kind of going back, stepping back, remember we learned from the crowd, the Keepers of the Flame are at odds with the Stone Guard because the heir of Wyrmsmith is missing, and the Stone Guard are suspicious of the Keepers of the Flame, which is possibly related to the consort, right, in control of the king, and that's causing the King's Guard to have issues. And the King's Guard, let's see, and the Keepers of the Flame are blaming the Stone Guard for not doing enough to find the heir, which if you think about it, the consort doesn't. The consort is in favor of the Wyrmsmith, but the Keepers of the Flame, their goal is to control the Wyrmsmith, to kill the Wyrmsmith, and then use the heir, the egg, to replace the Wyrmsmith. But the consort doesn't want that to happen, is I think what we're learning.
So we need to find the dragon egg, and we need to find out who stole it, why they stole it, and who's causing all the problems and not making this a happy-go-lucky paradise is what Thaldor's thinking. And he says that to Mulek and Falliger.
Yeah, I think we are figuring out who our allies are, and the Keepers of the Flame may be one of our good allies. That's what I'm thinking.
Falliger, what are you thinking?
I mean, it can't hurt. We definitely need to see what's going on inside that organization.
Hey, man, can you get us into your order, like where your order is at, that they can talk with us? Maybe.
Oh, yes. I can take you back to meet with Gartokar. Gartokar now. I am going about incognito, if you will. But I can take you back to the headquarters, so you can meet with him.
We don't have much time, but
it shouldn't take very long. I
Okay.
would think maybe do you have an hour?
yes.
And before Thaldor asks, yes, it's by this time it's probably getting close to 11 a.m. So you've been about an hour in total since you left.
Okay. I look at the guys and said, we should have time, guys. It's not been long. As long as we can get back within about 2 hours, we should be fine.
Well,
yes, I can have you back here. All right. And they start to walk off, and one of the players reminded me we got busy talking when we came back from break, and reminded me that somebody did ask a question during the break. Dratz was asking, he said, what would be a good adventure for somebody who's beginning the game? In my opinion, and some of the players here have had experience in this and can comment on it, my opinion, there's two really good adventures that have limited scope, limited duration, give you a feel for the flavor of the game and help you know whether it's something you'd want to dive into for a full-fledged adventure. The good thing about them is they're both free. The first one is the starter set, which is the Lost Mine of Phandelver. And with a fast group that goes through that, you can play through that in probably somewhere between 5 to 10 sessions. And then there's another game called the Essentials game, and that is the Dragon of Icespire Peak. And that one is designed to take you from level 1 to 6. It's designed as a milestone adventure, and both Mulek's player and Thaudor's player played through that with me. And we took about 20 sessions to do that, and it was a lot of fun. We had 5 or 6 players in there. So,
and that was my first session ever.
Yeah.
Of
So
D&D.
as a
Yes,
beginner, was that an easy
Yes.
entree to the game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was great. That was good.
So Dratz, if you are going to run a game for a bunch of newbies, or if there's a bunch of people that have never played and want to try the game, I would recommend going that way because it's going to be little to no investment, and B, it's a short enough. It tells a full story, but it's a short enough thing that if you get halfway through it and you feel like, oh man, this game just really isn't talking to us, then you don't feel like you spent a whole bunch of money and wasted a whole bunch of time. So
Isn't Dragon Heist a good one too?
Dragon Heist is a good one. It's a good short. It takes you from level 1 through 5. The thing is, you do have to invest money in that. You do have to buy either the hardback source book if you're going to play it around a physical table, or you have to buy the digital version if you're going to play it on a virtual table.
Got that too.
Yeah.
So I've invested about $70 into that so far, Ken. Yeah, it can be expensive.
Yeah, it's it can be a very expensive hobby. But the nice thing is it's stuff that's going to be around forever, and
Amen.
becomes source books for you. No matter how many editions they put out, you can always go back and mine story elements and maps and things like that, which is why I love collecting all the old stuff.
I'll get with you Dratz on that later, because I have the digital version. If you wanted to get into a game, I still have to get all that set up.
Okay. All right. So while the disembodied voices of the universe are having that conversation, you guys suddenly wind up walking sort of well, let's give you a little path here that you guys are walking. You walk over this way, and you kind of walk over this way, then you walk back down this way, and then you walk through this way, and you can see by the arrows that the streets here are really big, even though they look very small. And you are heading over here towards this cavern, and kind of not pictured in the base of this particular large wide column of rock that connects the floor to the ceiling of the cavern. There is an edifice that has been carved, and he is making for that edifice. And as you guys are walking over that way, you do come to you do see some people standing over here at the edge of this at the opening of this cavern. And they are a group of people that have, long spears, and they've got shields, and they've got some armor on. They are not stone guards. They're dressed in a slightly different colored livery, and they are standing with their backs to the cavern, basically guarding against anybody coming in. And when as you guys are walking over here close, you suddenly hear a rumbling, deep voice that echoes out of that cavern. And the voice says, Gartokar, you did not tell me that there were foreigners in the city. I wish to meet them.
Who is that?
And your escort, he just sort of like stops in mid-stride, and he cuts his eyes to you, and he kind of gets this little sheepish grin on his face, and he says, well, that would be the Wyrmsmith.
I think the dragon wants to have an audience with us.
Oh,
What did you do, Mulek?
wasn't me. Not it.
Ballinger?
I'm sorry. What happened? Out of character?
The dragon apparently wants to have a meeting with us.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So I was thinking, what did you do, Fallinger? Did you wake it with your mighty music?
No, I didn't do a damn thing. I thought we were trying to avoid this, but I guess we don't really have a choice. We have to kind of like.
And
Play it cool,
as
guys.
that-
Play it cool.
as that voice sort of
humbled.
echoes, as that voice sort of echoes away, there's a scurrying. You can hear a scurrying of feet, and several Duragar looking. They all are wearing robes, and one of them is wearing bright crimson robes, while the others are wearing gray robes that have dark red accents. The guy who is apparently in the lead in this group is wearing crimson robes with darker and lighter accents of red. So basically, it looks like his robe is designed to look like stylized fire itself, from the way it's colored. And he wears a medallion around his neck that seems to be like a badge of office, and it is an enlarged version of that brooch that your escort showed you, with the cauldron that has the gold flames. And the two other people flanking him in the gray robes with the red accents, they have the same size brooch that your escort has in his hand, and that just is on the breast of their robes. And the gentleman in the red, he says, I see that you were coming back to us with the guests, Dercum. I'm not quite sure how, but the Wyrmsmith seems to know that we were expecting the guests today, and my lords, the Wyrmsmith would seek to speak to you, and I'm kind of afraid of what would happen to all of us if we said no. And he kind of gives you a little sheepish grin.
And under my breath, I look at him and say, I guess he'd burn you in the fires of... Yeah, I'm done. I guess he'd burn you in the fires.
Yes, he well, we probably wouldn't be the only ones. If his invitation was rejected, let's say. And,
I dare not reject his invitation. Actually, I might give him a gift.
Oh, well, then
let's hope it's a suitable one. Follow me, and try to act casual, and by all means, don't do anything threatening. And so he sort of straightens himself up, and he, straightens his robes a little bit, and he arches his back, and he spins around, and he walks into the tunnel. So you guys are going to get a chance to see this entire. Whoops! No, come on. Reveal areas. There we go. Thank you. See this entire cavern, and as you walk in, you are.
I look at Thaldor as we see the dragon and say, "Well, it's real."
Yeah.
And we'll go ahead and we'll do this. Okay, to give you guys an idea of where.
I lean into Mulek and whisper, I go, I never thought I'd meet a dragon. This has gotten pretty cool.
This will give me something to talk to my friend about.
And so the Gartakar says, foreigners, guests of the king, please meet the Father of Flame, the Ever-Burning, and the Foundry's Heart, Thimberchod, the Wyrmsmith of Gracklstugh. And he makes a very, very deep bow. And
Mulek will copy.
I bow as well.
Okay. Falashur and Krenraid and Mulek, your eyes are drawn to this enormous fat red dragon that has a head that looks like it could easily be a tent for like 2 or 3 humans. It's like if you just had the skull, it would be a nice shelter from a rainstorm or something.
I have a question, Ellie. Sorry to bug you.
Go ahead.
Question.
Go ahead.
Can all dragons take human shape, or just certain dragons?
Well, that would be something to ask your wizard at a later point.
Well, there was a reason. I might have a gift for the dragon, but I need to know if he could take human shape.
Okay. You'd have to ask somebody who's available, or you could make a.
I could just ask the dragon.
Make a roll. Okay, yeah, you could ask the dragon, but so you guys, most of you your eyes are drawn to the actual dragon itself, and his crimson scales, and the horns on his head, and the various projections, bony projections and plates that are off of his snout and his head, and the very sharp teeth that are in the mouth, and kind of the way that as he exhales every time, it almost seems like his nostrils glow a little bit as he exhales. And Thaldor, your eyes are drawn to what the dragon is laying on.
Oh, yeah, a big pile of gold, but I'm not stupid enough to steal from a dragon.
Yeah, this dragon is laying on a mound of gold that, it's got coins. There are, golden chalices. There's statuary. There's the glint of gems and the glint of platinum. And this thing clearly, you can see it's laying kind of towards the front of this pile, and where it is, it's
its bulk is like raised up about 5 or 6 feet off the floor, just on this huge bed of coins and gems and
How do you pronounce the
uh,
dragon's name? I don't want to fuck it up. Excuse my language, but seriously.
the
Timberchod?
he said Thimberchod.
Thimberchod.
Gartatak said Thimberchod, and that would be Thaldor. Thaldor would take note of that.
Right. Okay. Oh, great, Wyrmsmith Thimberchod. I have a gift for you, but I have a question, sir. Can you take human form first? Well, I mean, you don't have to do it for me. You can do it at your own leisure. But my question is, can you take a human form?
One who is both wise to offer a gift and curious about my power. Let us say that, to indulge your question, yes, let us say that I can take the form of a human. I would be interested to know what you would offer.
Bring something from the surface world. I know you've been around for many a eon, and maybe sometimes you just like to forget it all for a couple hours. I have a little present that would help you do that if you just wanted to let back and relax. And yes, I've been hiding this from you, Falliger, because I know you didn't really need this. It's my special stuff, but I think it's special enough for our friend here. He might enjoy it. So what I do is I take out a little bag. It looks like I'm a drug dealer. It's funny. But I take out a little bag. I put about 10 ounces of forget me. What I have it in my inventory. God, I got to read it. Is it forget me all or forget all is what I called it. We came up with it in that one game, or one time I went to the Thieves Guild. I think it's called Forget Me All. Yeah, Forget All Weed is what it is. So I take it out. You know, you might like a smoke. You can put it in a tea, but you'll be relaxed and you'll forget about all your troubles for a couple hours. So and I lay that at his feet. Also with 5 platinum, just to sweeten the deal.
Well,
And then his eyes take you in, and then his eyes sort of look up past you and look at Gartakar. And he says, the dragon says,
Gartokar, you have brought me ones who know truly how to treat a dragon. I think I would like to talk to these surface folk alone. You may leave us.
and Gartakar says, "Oh, Your Eminence, are you sure that it is safe?" And then, like, the entire mound of coins and everything just sort of shifts a little bit, and then it starts to shift again, and it starts to rhythmically shift. And it's like you guys can sort of feel the earth sort of almost trembling in rhythm. And then after you can feel it, you begin to hear this deep rumble.
Truly, you think I'm in danger? Ah, if I thought that you were being honest, it might touch me. But no, leave us now, before I don't let you leave alive. Go from me, Gartakar. Do not come back until you are summoned again.
And he's like, "Yes, Wyrmsmith. Yes, Wyrmsmith." And, there's kind of this shuffling as they sort of are backing away and, bowing and everything. And the dragon's eyes are just sort of, narrowed and peering at them and just ignoring all four of you. Like if this guy had like a open spot on his belly, you could probably walk up and just shove a dagger into it because he's not paying. It doesn't seem to be paying any attention to you at all. But he's an old dragon, crusty scales and everything, and seems like he's probably armored like a battleship, if you had to guess. And then as the dwarves take their, or the Duragar take their leave, he says, "Ah, that's better. Now we can speak in private." And then the dragon sort of just seems to kind of do a thing that does indeed remind you a little bit of a cat. He sort of turns and he sort of stretches out his front paws, and then he sort of stretches out his back legs, and he's just sort of rubbing his belly on the mound of gold coins, and he just sort of gets it, and he says, "Oh, yes. Please sit down. Make yourselves comfortable."
Mulek will find a place and sit down.
Okay.
Haldor graciously bows and sits down.
And he reaches out a claw, and Thaldor, one of his paws is probably about the pads of his paws, probably about as big as your entire torso. And then
God.
each of the toes coming off of them may be close to the size of a full-grown dwarf, and each claw at the end of that toe is easily as long as your forearm. And he just with one tiny claw, the very tip of it, he somehow daintily grabs the loop of string at the end of this bag that you set down, and he brings it up in front of his nostrils, and he, interesting. I haven't smoked weed from the surface in many, many ages. I thank you.
Yeah, and I put the 5
Now.
platinum down on the ground too. I took that out of my inventory, by the way.
Okay. And he looks down at that, and he says, "Thaldor, have you ever held a bit of dragon treasure before?"
I can say no, sir. I have not.
And so then he takes the same claw, after he delicately sets down the bag. He takes the same claw, and he touches one of the platinum pieces, and he pulls it back towards him. Then he touches a second platinum piece, pulls it back towards him. A third platinum piece, pulls it back towards him. A fourth platinum piece, pulls it back towards him. And while he does that, he says, "Just so you all know, the stories are true. A dragon, even the stupid whites, they never forget a single coin that has ever come into their possession. And the only way they let it go is when they choose to make it a gift." And then he takes his claw and he places it down on the 5th platinum coin. And he says, "Now, I have marked that as part of my hoard. And Thaldor,
I would like to give it to you as a gift.
And he just slides that whole big claw and everything just slides right up to you. And then he lets go and he brings it back, and that platinum coin is sitting right at your feet.
Oh my God. Can I be honest, guys? I just got cold chills. Like, seriously, Callie. I got cold chills when you kept saying that. So Thaldor bends down, bows graciously, bends down, picks up the platinum, looks at it, and says, "Thank you. I appreciate that."
You're welcome.
Fal-
Go ahead, Felicia.
Fallinger would have popped up at some point and been like, he would have given like a backhanded compliment and try to sneak it in there and be like, "Oh, fieriest, hottest, glorious of." What was his name? Is something
Thimbershod. It's on the map.
Thimberchode. Oh, blah blah blah. Of Thimberchode is he would like he would mess it up a little bit, and then he'd be like,
eyes just dart over to Fallinger, like, "Oh my God."
Make sure he's not sitting next to Fallinger.
You might have all this wonderful, glorious treasure, but let me tell you this. Have you got one of the greatest treasures in the universe given to you in the form of a song?
Well,
a treasure that no man, creature, or beast could ever steal from you.
I have heard bards perform songs about me. I have heard each of those songs once. None of them pleased me. They were the last performances those bards ever gave.
Well, clearly they weren't very good bards. What can I say?
I would be interested in hearing a quality song, but I would have to know that the bard who composed it spent an adequate amount of time getting it just right before they perform it for me. As you all are new to the city, if the whispers that have come to me are correct, then I doubt that even the great Fallinger from the famous bard from the surface who wowed everyone at the Shattered Spire last night, I doubt even he would have had a chance to compose a song that I would find pleasing. So I would suggest that if he chooses to perform it, he workshop it for a less demanding audience first. Now, he says, turning back to the rest of you, let's talk business. Something is amiss here in Gracklstugh. I know it for sure. And I think that the Keepers of the Flame have something to do with it.
What are you referring to?
You see, I have tasked them with safeguarding my heir, my yet-to-be-hatched heir. And they have dutifully brought it forth to me every week so that I may see it and touch it. And you all may not know this, but we dragons have a way of sensing the life even inside the egg. I know that my heir will be strong. I know that my heir will be powerful. I know that my heir will be...
Pellissier kind of mumbles under his breath. He says a replacement.
And there's a sensation that none of you guys have experienced. None of these characters, I don't think, have experienced. It's the sensation when the full attention of an adult dragon is focused on a single individual.
He kind of does his cough like.
And he says,
Falazur, you may yet be the bard who can perform a song if your performances are as insightful as your words. Yes, I have learned that these fools, the Keepers of the Flame, they intend to replace me. So I would ask a boon of you, a favor, and in return, Valdor will not be the only one to leave Gracklstugh with dragon treasure as a gift. I will make gifts to all of you. And I ask but one simple favor in return. Find the egg, destroy it, and bring me the pieces of the broken shell as proof.
Daldor pipes up. Sir, not that that's not a huge request of us. And I know they keep talking how you're saying they want to replace you, but could you not raise this heir your own without them?
I have lived many, many years, centuries in fact. My lifespan, if it is allowed to reach its normal age, can be near 1,000 years. We dragons have lives that we even outlive the elves. We are one of the few creatures on the face of the planet that live longer than the elves. In my long centuries of life, I have studied these Duragar, and all of them are treacherous. Not nearly so treacherous as the Drow. Gods save us all from their madness. But they are treacherous. And as powerful and as large as I am, I'm not sure if I would survive a fight against the entire city. I would be forced to choose to defend my horde or flee if they took it into their mind to try to end me. And as long as they don't have a replacement Wyrmsmith, I don't think they would lift a finger against me. Their economy depends too much on my keeping the forges lit, my keeping the power that keeps the forges hot, molten. I believe that through patience, I could groom the proper keepers of the flame to a more subservient role, where they would be more obedient. The one who leads them now, Gartokar, he has become too full of himself. You all have approached me with humility and kindness, so I would not ask you to risk your lives by assassinating him. I have other agents who may be able to take care of that in time. But I must find someone who, among the ranks of the Keepers of the Flame, who can be led as I see fit, and make sure that they ascend to the leadership of the group. For now, I merely want to delay their plans long enough to see how I may be able to get rid of this Gartokar. Tell me, if you were given the opportunity, and be truthful about it, if you were given the opportunity to rid the world of a powerful red dragon before it is ever allowed to hatch, would that be worth 5,000 gold pieces for each of you?
My jaw drops to the floor.
Do you have any leads on where this heir may be being held?
There are whispers that reach me. Long has this city been plagued by bandits that call themselves the Grey Ghosts. They operate out of the Whorlstone tunnels. Tunnels too small for me to enter. Tunnels too twisty and windy for me to feel like I would have an adequate escape, even if I could get into them.
Do you have anything that could assist us?
And he pushes some coins around in a pile, and then you realize that he's not just idly pushing around. It's like he's searching in the coins for something. And he kind of digs his claws in and scrapes some coins aside. And then he brings up between two massive claws. He brings up a wand, and he reaches that wand out, and he lays it on the ground at right in front of Mulek, and he says, "Some fool found their way in here with that a few centuries ago. Do you want to know what it is?"
Sure.
I'm sure you're going to tell us whether we like it or not.
It's a wand of dragon detection. Well, he found the dragon all right. That was the last thing he found. Yes, take that. Take that. I'm not 100% certain it would help you find the egg, but it might lead you in the proper direction.
Oh, I'll do my best.
All right. Basically, what it does, wand of dragon detection. It kind of like is a charge of you use a charge, and it'll last an hour, and it works similarly to the spell detect good and evil, except it detects dragons. And the range of it, instead of being out to 60 feet, is it's out to 120 feet. So I'll put that in the Discord for you.
Okay.
So, and it's a doesn't require attunement. So he go
I
ahead.
look up at Mulek and I'm just thinking, I'm like, here's what Thaldor's running through Thaldor's head real quick. He looks over at Mulek and it's like, wow, he jumped quick at the thought of 5,000 gold pieces. Like, I know Thaldor's jaw dropped, I know my jaw dropped to the floor, but is Mulek really considering killing a red dragon, in its egg for gold? Or is there something else in his mind? I'll have to find out in a minute.
Okay.
How do we know that you hold up your end of the deal?
That is a wise question from one who has been made a princely offer by a dragon. I can tell you are saying to yourself, dragons usually don't part with a large portion of their treasure. And I can assure you that, like most dragons, I would not part with a large portion of my treasure. But a trifling fee I would happily pay to have the danger against me reduced. But tell me something else if you can. My dreams have been troubled of late. And I'm afraid that these dreams have nothing to do with what is happening here in Gracklstugh. But there's like a shadow. And it seems like it should be familiar, but it's not. It's a shadow that rises in my mind, in my mind's eye. And I see it's like fingers of snakes. 5 fingers of snakes that are shadows. And I almost feel like it's something that's calling to me. But I have no idea what it could be. Does that make any sense to any of you?
Mulek's just looking puzzled.
Well, if you If you think of anything, you can let me know. But otherwise, can I count on you to assist me, or can I count on you to be a tasty snack?
Like I said earlier, I'll do my best.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. I'm not going to make any promises.
Try.
Well, I suggest that you succeed, or give your lives in the attempt. If you fail, and if my heir is allowed to hatch, and if by some chance the Keepers of the Flame and their allies in the city rise up against me, and if I should escape Gracklstugh, I now know all of your scents, and a dragon never forgets a scent. If you fail me, and I escape this, you will never stop having to look over your shoulders. That I promise you.
Great Timber Chat, I have a question.
Yes, one more question.
What do you know of what vexes the king down here?
The king. I believe that the king suffers from a malady common among the Darrow and among the stone giants. I think he has been stricken by something the Drow call Faerun, which is a madness that springs from the very flora of the Underdark. The spores of the mushrooms slowly turn many humanoids mad. I think that is what has befallen our king.
Is there a way to cure him of that?
A competent cleric can remove the effects, but if one is susceptible to it and one stays in the Underdark, eventually the spores will build up and one will suffer again. The only way to permanently be cured is to either leave the Underdark, or to die, or to eradicate every spore of fungus from the Underdark itself. That is not likely to happen.
So we ourselves are susceptible to this as well, the longer we're down here.
Yes. If you have one in your group, or you can find potions of, let's say, lesser restoration, should you ever feel anything strange going on, take that. That will reset you, and it will be probably months before you inhale enough of the spores to have it be a problem for you.
So it would take some pretty powerful magic to straighten the king out, you're telling me?
Oh, if he has a reliable cleric who can cast greater restoration on him, that will cure him of anything that ails him and give him some measure of protection for a while. But as I said, the only way for him to completely be free of it is to leave the Underdark.
Which we know that'll never happen. But thank you.
No.
Thank you, sir, for that answer. I really appreciate that.
Oh, you are welcome. And I need to...
What?
Well, we know what is ailing the king to a degree. It probably doesn't help with that woman whispering in his ear, but that answered that question.
What, I'm sorry, you cut out. What's ailing him?
The fungus, there's a spore. Farsis. Which would probably be in our book, I imagine, that we studied.
Yeah, I am trying to find the spelling of it in here.
Maybe
it's a weird spelling, and I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Hmm.
With the king going mad, her whispering in his ear probably is just making it much, much easier for her to control everything.
Yeah, I see. There's no cure for it? Well, I guess we'll have to look into it.
Well, he said lesser restoration would temporarily subside it unless he pretty much went to the sunlight and stayed there. Would it help ease the symptoms, I guess? Or almost, I wouldn't say cure it, but say that when we left the Underdark eventually, that if we were to get lesser restoration cast on us or we take a potion, that it would pretty much cure the effects. And because we'll be back in daylight in the sun and breathing normal air, we wouldn't be affected anymore by its poisons, I guess. But the longer you stay, the more mad you become. But it also makes sense that might be what them Darrow were under the control of because they went mad. I mean, that could all be what they were suffering the effects from, like a super enhanced dose of it. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of makes sense.
That's good info to have. Guess watch out for mushroom spores.
Guess we'll probably in certain areas, depending on where we go, if we notice them, we'll have to cover our faces with cloths or something to help keep the spores down.
Yeah, and you're one of the things that you remember from the book that you have read is that Fair's Rest occurs in it seems to build up in areas and remains in areas for a while, and then sometimes it will wane. And some people claim it's a type of ancient magic energy. Other people claim it's connected to the spores of the fungi in the Underdark. Other people claim that it has a source that nobody knows why it happens. But Thimberchod at least seems to believe that it's related to the fungi of the Underdark. So that's one of the three prevailing theories of why this happens.
Interesting.
So not 100%, just another theory.
Yep.
More questions and more questions.
Well, I guess we'll be on our way.
Well, good. Good. I wish you good hunting. And as I said, Just bring me back shattered fragments of the shell to prove that you have done my bidding, and a portion of a dragon's hoard will belong to all of you. And that, Falazur, is something that you could sing in every tavern throughout the Underdark and on the surface world. Think about your fame then. If you were given treasure by a dragon.
Oh, I got a song for you, partner. I think I'll title it "The Song That Never Ends."
Oh, I like the sound of that. But like I said, workshop it. And if you feel bold enough, maybe when you bring the fragments of the egg back, that is when I will be in the best mood I've been in for a long time. I would suggest that would be the best time to lay it on me, as the bards say. And with that, it's clear that you guys are being dismissed from your audience. Unless, are there any final questions either of you have, or any of you have?
No, I'm clear with what's going on.
Okay.
I
So
think we just need to have a discussion, all three of us, outside the chambers.
yeah. So as the party make their way out of the chamber of Thunbershad, the curtain falls on our session. The lights go down, and we have reached the end of our session. Thank you, players. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you all on the stream for joining us tonight for this game. We really appreciate you all being here. Faldor, Michael, before we go, we do have a number of people on the stream. So anything exciting happening over on your Twitch channel between now and next Thursday that you want to let people know about?
Well, tomorrow night, I'm actually going to be playing the Forest and a few other games around 10 p.m. Central Standard Time with my buddy Scary Jerry Gaming. It's his stream anniversary, so we'll be playing a bunch of games all throughout the night to celebrate that with him. So come join us and have a good time celebrating his 1 year stream anniversary. And that's about all going on right now. And I want to apologize for not being here with everyone last week. I was in quite a lot of pain and slept for 30 hours straight.
Yikes.
Yeah, I'll explain that after stream.
Yeah.
So thank you for that shout out, Gally. And thanks for everyone for being here tonight. It's been a great session tonight.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And here on this particular channel, we'll have another game on Saturday night. So Drats, we are playing through The Lost Mine of Phandelver, that game we talked about, but we're doing it with the original D&D rule set. So it's the same story as you'll find in Lost Mine, but it's played with the rules that Dave Arneson and Gary Gygax wrote back in the 1970s, which means that the game plays very differently. It's a lot of fun. The players in that game all have big personalities, just like the players in this game do, and we have a blast in those sessions. So that's 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on Saturdays. Then on Sunday afternoon, Ken will be back with me for the Walker of Waterdeep. That's a 5th edition planeswalking game, and we are right now in the plane of Kamigawa. And then on Monday night, I have a one mic show that I do, which details the history of a particular monster throughout various editions of D&D. And coming up this Monday night,
let's see, that's going to be the 22nd, is actually a monster that comes out of Magic the Gathering. This is no, I'm sorry. It's not. It's a monster that comes out of D&D, but I think it may be new in 5th edition. It is Auril the Frost Maiden. And she has actually 3 forms, and we're going to be talking about all 3 of her forms on Monday night. So that'll be kind of interesting. And we'll be talking about how you can use a monster that has multiple forms in an encounter to build something that's really kind of a special encounter for your players and something that they don't often get a chance to see in a D&D session. Then, of course, next Thursday we'll be back here. Also, announcement for everybody, and I'm still working on getting some artwork for the streams and everything. Hope to have those ready by next week. We have joined here, Galabond, on the Galabond channel. We have joined the Game Rebel streaming network. And so there's a fella out of California who has been streaming for about 5 years, and he makes a full-time living doing it, and he's put together a whole team, if you will, called Game Rebel. And you'll now see that down below the main screen when I'm offline, there's a bunch of the different team members that you can go and check out, and we have the team on the auto host list. So when we're not streaming, you may see one of my friends, such as Dorzafir, hosted on this channel, or you may see one of the team members hosted on the channel. So they all stream a variety of different games, and it's just a good way of sort of networking with other creators and seeing how we can get our maybe how we can make our content a little better and how we can help out other people along the way as well. So all of that. Anything else, guys, before we wish good night to the stream?
Just stay warm and love, be kind to your neighbors.
Yeah, take care, everybody, because this I mean, we would hardly even know it's winter here in Florida, but the rest of the country and a lot of other places in Northern Europe are just getting hammered by this weather. So be safe, stay warm, take care, and be good to yourselves and good to those around you. And we will wish you all a good night. Take care, everybody. Have a great week.
Good night, all.